We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. The 76 Emmy nominations celebrate queer talent, including RuPaul, Kristen Kish, Alan Cumming, Matt Boomer, and many more across various categories.
Miami-Dade's Homeless Trust approved Pridelines' $2.4 million grant for LGBTQ+ youth housing, addressing critical needs and promoting inclusivity.
Former Trump critic J.D. Vance's surprising nomination as vice president gets people talking about his words about Trump before last night's acceptance speech.
A Trevor Project's brief reveals significant climate anxiety among LGBTQ+ youth, impacting mental health and highlighting urgent support needs.
Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we have had more than 9 million views. It is Thursday, July 18th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the queer community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture, the Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students, youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS, healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the queer and broader community.
Let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years plus experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade, float design, production, and casting. He is an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. He is proud to be living the dream here in Wilton Manors, serving on a city advisory board and ongoing civic project initiatives as a dedicated volunteer. Larry, you are the associate producer with Mary. It's Mary Productions. You are currently producing interesting shows like Doctor's Orders and Wilton Wins. Plus, Candace and Dana are attending DragCon in LA with RuPaul. Tell me, what's happening, Larry?
Well, I actually had a conversation with Dana Davis earlier, and she told me that she and Candace Kane and their crew are setting up their booth at RuPaul's DragCon. They're very excited. For all the folks out there in Los Angeles, please check out their booth. They'll be there all day tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, and they're looking forward to seeing you. And you'll get a great scoop into what's going on at It's Mary Productions. We have Doctor's Orders. We have Candace Kane's Secret Garden, in which both Candace Kane and Dana Davis play characters. I don't want to give anything away, but you have to see both of them. They're awesome. And, you know, there's some things in the works. I'm working as an associate producer right now. I'm proud to be working with them on a lighthearted and fun documentary about Wilton Manors history, past to present, and where we're at as a community. So check out Wilton Wins when it's launched. And there's a few other things in the works that we're going to keep under lock and key. So you'll just have to check out Mary It's Mary online and see what's going on.
Oh, that's great. And Dana Davis has been on his set. She is amazing. She is just a great person, has lived in Wilton for quite some time now. So it's great. So check them out at DragCon up in LA. Let's meet Von Biggs, my brother, Broward County HIV Health Services Planning Council's vice chair and disruptive advocate. That he is. Yeah. Challenging outdated perceptions and fighting for HIV/AIDS rights. As Holy Cross's Health's community outreach coordinator, Von is smashes stigmas through innovative campaigns and social media. Welcome, Von. What's up, brother?
There's a lot going on. Actually, we have coming up is actually our it's 2024. So it's Zero Stigma, HIV Stigma Day. So that's coming up on the 21st. And that will be, obviously it's a nationwide campaign. So the idea that so many of us fight and talk about HIV and stigma and how that goes hand in hand in our community. So it's really, it's a way and an opportunity for us to sit back and think about that and think about maybe our preconceived notions of people who are living with HIV that they wouldn't even know have HIV today.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. That's great. So that's the 21st, right?
Yes.
Great. Next up, let's welcome Nico Cales. He is a passionate learner and leader. He loves connecting with people, exploring new places, and creating meaningful memories. Nico is currently pursuing an MBA in marketing. Welcome, Nico. What's happening?
I'm glad to be back, to be with you guys. I actually just got back from Provincetown.
Ooh.
It was so pretty. Went for circuit week and had a lot of lobster rolls and enjoyed just Cape Cod. Beautiful weather. So, I actually went to the Human Rights Campaign. They have a store on Commercial, and I got in my voting era. I don't know if you could see it, but in my voting era.
Yes, there we go.
So I'm back and here to fight the good fight.
I love it. That's great. Well, welcome back.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Edward Summers. He is the executive director of Pridelines, Miami's LGBTQ Community Center. He served as a primary therapist and program director at Eye Care Treatment Center in West Palm Beach. He also served the founder and CEO of the New York-based nonprofit, the Thinkubator. Welcome, Dr. Summers. What's going on?
Thanks.
I'm happy to be here to see with you tonight.
I know. Finally, we're on the set together. This is great to be here with all of you, especially Yvonne. You're one of my favorites, of course.
Thanks.
Lots is happening at Pridelines. Just two quick events that's happening next week. Next week, the 26th, we're going to host a prequel to our gala. Our gala is August 17th. We're honoring a national icon named Lady Bunny. We're honoring the Our Fun Foundation, the Miami Foundation, the Girls Rock Band, and Michael Roman, who is an unsung hero. So we're going to do sort of a prequel. We got word that a lot of our donors and friends in August can't be here, and so we're doing a prequel to gala. It's just a way to give people a little insight into what we're going to do at gala. Gala's going to be fantastic. It's a disco theme. I mean, it's going to be insane. We are near sold out, so we're going to have 350 people at gala. So this is just a prelude to what's to come for gala. And there may be a special performance by the leader of Pridelines. I don't know. We'll see, with his family. Second, we're hosting a pool party at my house up here in Wilton Manors next Saturday, the 27th. This is for a promotion for the Joyride. The Joyride used to be the Smart Ride. So we're recruiting bikers who want to bike 165 miles from Miami to the Keys over a two-day period. I'm biking this year, which I've got to start training for. So we're going to host a pool party at my house up here in Wilton next Saturday. It's going to be from like 2 to like 6 or 7. We know as gays, we go late. So, so there's a lot happening. Check out those details on pridelines.org. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for Thursday, July 18th, 2024. First, this evening, let's queer up entertainment. Queer stars shine bright as the 76 Emmy nominations are out. And we mean out. The 76th annual Primetime Emmy nominations have brought a wave of excitement as plenty of queer stars and shows are making their mark this year. Here is a list of queer nominations we will be cheering for. RuPaul continues his streak with another nomination for Outstanding Host. This is a record 23rd nomination for RuPaul. Kristen Kish, in her debut season hosting Top Chef, joins RuPaul with a nomination in the same category. Alan Cumming has a nomination for The Traitors. In the acting categories, Matt Bomer secures his second nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series or Movie for Fellow Travelers, while Jonathan Bailey earns a nod for Outstanding Supporting Actor in the same series. Richard Gadd shines with multiple nominations for Baby Reindeer, including Outstanding Limited Series and Lead Actor. Jessica Gunning and Nava Mao are nominated for Outstanding Supporting Actress. Tom Hollander and Andrew Scott are nominated for lead actors. Scott Ripley is also nominated for Best Limited Series. Jodie Foster leads the charge for True Detective Night Country, nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress, alongside Callie Rise for Supporting Actress. Bowen Yang marks his third Emmy nomination for Saturday Night Live, while Red, White, and Royal Blue contends for Outstanding Television Movie. Hannah Edinburgh shines with her third nomination for Hacks alongside Jean Smart for Lead Actress. Holland Taylor earns recognition for The Morning Show, and Sarah Paulson receives a nod for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Lily Gladstone rounds out the list with her first nomination for Under the Bridge. Stay tuned for the Emmy Awards on September 15th, airing on ABC, where we'll discover this year's winners. Holy crap. So many names, so many good actresses and actors, so many good shows nominated. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a great show in September. And kudos to members of our community for being recognized. We've come such a long way. And the fact that we are just showing up in so many different places and spaces, this is pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait for Sarah Paulson.
Yes, and Holland Taylor. As a couple, they're like the lesbian power couple in Hollywood. I think it's fantastic, and I love Jodie Foster.
Who doesn't love Jodie Foster? She is just a trailblazer. She's an amazing actress.
Absolutely.
I mean, she just is such a great representation of our community. You got to love her. And everything that she does it really well.
Right.
That's right.
And the Red, White, and Royal Blue, the yumminess, right?
Very good. I think I watched that one twice.
Yes.
And Hannah from Hacks, I literally watched the show Hacks right before bed, and it's so good. So many good takeaways. It's a 30-minute show, so I'm glad that she's getting an Emmy.
I got to watch that. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's on Max.
3 seasons, really?
3 seasons.
Where have I been?
Busy. You've been busy. Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Pridelines secures historic $2.4 million grant for Miami-Dade's first LGBTQ+ youth housing. Today, it was announced that the Homeless Trust Executive Committee has approved Pridelines' $2.4 million to establish Miami-Dade's first LGBTQ+ youth housing over the next 2 years. The grant is the largest donation ever received by Pridelines. The Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust leads the oversight, planning, and operations of Miami-Dade County's homeless continuum of care. It helps over 5,000 people daily through supportive housing. The $2.4 million grant forms part of a broader grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD, intended to tackle housing needs and homelessness. Utilizing this grant, Pridelines aims to implement comprehensive housing solutions. The grant will fund Pridelines' project Safe House at Rainbow Road, the first LGBTQ+ specific transitional and permanent rapid rehousing facility in Miami. It will accommodate up to 26 young people and offer them services like case management, mental health counseling, clinical care, and personal development. The need for LGBTQ+ housing in South Florida is driven by systemic discrimination, family rejection, and safety concerns. Current shelters often fail to meet LGBTQ+ individuals' needs, exacerbating health disparities and isolation. Establishing LGBTQ+ homeless housing in Miami-Dade County affirms dignity and promotes inclusivity. The $2.4 million grant hence marks a transformative step. Since 1982, Pridelines has been a steadfast supporter of Miami's LGBTQ+ community, offering shelter and housing support to queer youth and helping under-resourced and marginalized in combating HIV/AIDS. Pridelines Executive Director, Dr. Edward Summers, said on the new program, quote, "This grant is significant for Pridelines. We have an opportunity to make significant difference in the lives of young people faced with housing insecurity. We see so many young people daily who seek housing support, but we can't accommodate them. This grant will allow us to exponentially expand our work in supporting young LGBTQ youth. I am proud of the work of the staff, board, donors, and volunteers who have contributed in one way or another in making this opportunity possible. We stand on the shoulders of tremendous leaders who have led us to this point. I am beyond grateful, end quote. Don't miss Pridelines Gala on August 17th at the Coral Gables Golf Club and Country Club. I'll be there. Pridelines will be celebrating 42 years of service this year. Of course, Pridelines Executive Director, Edward Summers, is with us tonight. Edward, what did you think about when you received the largest grant in Pridelines history?
It's very humbling, and it's such a great honor to be awarded this. This grant is significant in several ways. One, it's a 2-year commitment with 3 years renewable, non-competitive. So we will likely, as long as we do a good job over the next 2 years, be able to get this grant renewed over a 3-year period. So 5 years total. At the same levels, dependent funding from our federal government and what happens in our national politics. But it's a humbling experience in that, I fundamentally believe that we just do the work quietly. It's all about us just serving our community. Since I've taken leadership, I'm like, let's just continue to do the work. Let's just do the work. Let's serve our community. Let's make sure that we have the programs in place and the supportive services in place. We, on a daily basis, deal with so many young people who are housing insecure, and we use the money that we raise to put them up in temporary shelter, such as Airbnbs, hostels, hotels, really whatever we can find, because we don't have our own housing at this point. So this gives us significant opportunity to build our own housing, which we've already located some housing. We're already on top of it. Once we heard word that we were potentially going to get this, we already jumped on top of locating some housing. But this not only has the implications for the young people that will be in the housing. So we have about 26 people that will be in the housing, give or take at one time. That will change, right? Over a 2-year period. Some people will, leave, will include more people in. So we have the opportunity to probably impact about 50 to 60 young people over a 2+ year period, because we want people to come in, depending on where they're at. They may just need 3 months of temporary housing, and then they go out into the real world. But this frees up our dollars to help other people that are non-youth. And what we've seen in Pridelines is more and more members of our community who are not 18 and 24 who need housing, who need support, who need an upper hand. I mean, I can't begin to tell you the number of people that this year, under my leadership, we've paid their rent. We have given them temporary shelter, then placed them in an apartment. So this frees up dollars to continue to help other members of our community who just needs a temporary help. It is very expensive to live in South Florida.
Yes.
Very, very expensive to get a studio is $2,000 in Miami-Dade where we cover. And so it's very expensive. So this really gives us an opportunity to uplift all members of our community, no matter your age. So this has significant implications for other aspects of the community that we serve. So we're very proud of this. It's very significant. It is the largest gift that we've received in Pridelines history. And so I'm very proud of the work that we do at the organization. I'm very proud that the Homeless Trust recognizes the work that we do and the contributions that we made. But I would be remiss to say this. We stand on the shoulders of everybody who came before me. It's not just about my leadership. It's about the people that came before me. So Victor Diaz-Herman, we have Luigi Ferraro, who now works at the health department, Josue Santiago, and of course, our founders. So we stand on their legacy. Without them, we wouldn't be here. And Pridelines has been around for 42 years. We are one of the oldest LGBTQ serving organizations in South Florida and in Florida. So 42 years of service.
Housing is such an important factor. We hear about it all the time. Up here in Broward, we hear it. We talk about the youth, and I've only known you for about a year. It seems like it's a year since we met, I think, roughly. But the things that you've accomplished and done is wonderful. And as I keep saying, when are you coming to Broward?
I live here. So.
Yes.
We're inching away. No, joking. No, honestly, we're grateful for some of the partners here in Broward that we've worked with. We have worked with, the Pride House, where we recommend young people, but their capacity at 12 young people. And their program is a little bit different than the model that we're pursuing. So their model is a 3-month model. Our model is a 2-year model. So depending on where young people are at, They can stay with us. At minimum, we want them to stay with us probably 6 months because our model is focused on a trauma-informed approach where young people, if you're homeless, you've dealt with some sort of trauma, right? You're homeless for a reason. So we want you to heal first before even throwing in your face, go get an education, go get a job. Work on yourself. Focus on yourself. Focus on becoming a whole person, right? And so that's our model, is really based on this trauma-informed approach. So for the first couple of months, we want you to just become human again, right? And deal with yourself and grow and develop. And then after that, we want to focus on those other things that allow you to participate in our democracy, right? Like becoming more educated or trained and getting a job, working with other various government entities to make sure that you have all the supportive services that you need. But we want your first 6 months to really, 3 to 6 months to be you healing, you developing, you working with our therapists, you go into groups, and then also you enjoying everything that life has to offer. Because oftentimes young people who are in this situation haven't really realized life or enjoyed life yet. So let's throw in some barbecues, let's throw in some pool parties, let's throw in some trips to Orlando, right? During that first couple of months so that you really experience the world before you have all this pressure on you. We're very, very excited about this opportunity and this model. You could contact Pridelines to info@pridelines.org to learn more about this, or visit our website at pridelines.org. It's very significant for us. And I should say very historic for Miami-Dade as well, because we have no LGBTQ housing.
Right.
So this is very, very historic moment. And the Homeless Trust, kudos to them for their trust in us, despite the state politics here and the anti-LGBTQ movement.
Exactly.
We have been able to achieve such a huge milestone. So this is huge for us, and quite frankly, it sets precedents for other public funding for other parts of our state, such as Broward, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats.
Next, let's queer up politics. A marriage of convenience between Trump and Vance. In a move that raised eyebrows, Donald Trump selected Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his vice presidential nominee. Vance delivered his acceptance speech last night at the Milwaukee RNC convention. Trump's choice was driven by Vance's unwavering loyalty despite past harsh criticisms of Trump. Vance's shift from a vocal Trump critic to a staunch supporter is notable. In 2016, Vance labeled Trump as a, quote, moral disaster and contemplated voting for Hillary Clinton. After, quote, Access Hollywood tape came out in 2016, Vance said, quote, fellow Christians, everyone is watching us when we apologize for this man. Lord, help us, unquote. However, his desire for political power eventually led him to embrace Trump's policies, even mimicking Trump's style. This was so visible at a 2022 rally in Youngstown, Ohio. The former president, who led the January 6th insurrection, joked about Vance's excessive flattery. Trump said, quote, JD is kissing my ass. Of course, he wants my support, unquote. Adding to Trump's authoritarian fantasies, Vance did not mind risking Democratic values either. During the Republican primary for his Ohio seat, Vance said, quote, I think the election was stolen from Trump, unquote. He was talking about the 2020 presidential election. He also downplayed the January 6th domestic terrorism incident to align with Trump. Vance's alignment with Trump extends to foreign policies too. He carries a very dismissive stance on the Russia-Ukraine war. On Steve Bannon's podcast, Vance said, quote, I think it's ridiculous that we're focused on this border in Ukraine. I've got to be honest with you. I really don't care what happens to Ukraine one way or the other, unquote. Trump's selection of Vance over other potential VP picks, such as Senator Tim Scott and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, indicates his preference for an ass-kisser over expanding his voter base. Who would do it better than J.D. Vance? Perhaps the LGBTQ community should believe candidate Vance when he wrote, quote, I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad and may even prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler, unquote. Pretty powerful stuff. What are your thoughts?
So I have a lot of thoughts on this story.
Let it rip.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it rip for a minute.
Yes,
you know,
please.
Listen, I'm gonna be authentic here, right? Good pick on the side of the Republicans, right? Like I'm gonna be honest. They picked somebody who's younger than Trump. He's 39 years old. He has a history, a military history. He's from a Rust Belt state like Ohio. He's a white male. He considers himself a Christian. He's married, his children. I think a great pick on the surface. However, I think they've run into some major problems as your story identified. One, some of his past comments about Trump, right? He's all of a sudden transformed into this quote unquote, using Trump words, this ass kisser, right? To Trump. But, moral disaster, as you indicated, America's Hitler. He once said that Trump is a total fraud and didn't care about regular people and called them reprehensible. Sorry, I'm using the screw in there. Reprehensible. He's a cultural heroine. He talked about how he's just an opioid for middle America. I mean, he said some pretty derogatory comments about Trump that I don't think we could forget as Americans. Like, he meant those comments, right? You meant them when you were saying them. It's not all of a sudden that this evaporates, right, or disappears because now you're his VP choice. You said these comments and you meant them about this guy. He said he was a never Trump. He talked about how he's a serial sexual assault person. He committed sexual assaults. I mean, these are all these character assassinations against Trump. But moreover, I think some of our bigger challenges with J.D. Vance is that his stance on policy, public policy, right? He is someone who is actually going against Trump. So this is where, again, the Republican Party faces some major issues, right? The fact that Trump has publicly said that he does not want a national abortion ban, maybe inside he thinks this and maybe he wants this and this corresponds with, the Project 2025 or whatever, but Trump has publicly said he did not want it. J.D. Vance is the opposite, right? J.D. Vance wants an abortion ban, right? A public abortion ban for all women, right? I think the other thing is that, for us in our community, the LGBTQ plus community, J.D. Vance, he's a problem for the LGBTQ plus community, right? He opposed the Respect for Marriage Act, right, in Congress. He does not respect our unity and our marriages in the LGBTQ plus community, so we have to worry about him. What will he do? Yes, he's the vice president pick, but over time, vice presidents have waned a lot of power. Thanks to George W. Bush, who gave Dick Cheney a lot of power and allowed the vice president to have a more meaningful role than a more ceremonial role. So we do have to worry about J.D. Vance and his policy prescriptions, right? So the Respect for Marriage Act. He also has supported the Project Children's Innocence Act, which will jail medical providers who perform gender-affirming care. Right? So that's worrisome, the fact that he supported an act like this. If I'm a provider, if I'm a medical doctor and I'm performing this procedure with parental, permission, I can be jailed under what he believes as this Project Children's Innocence Act, right? And so those are some of the main, and then of course he supports Project 2025, which is a disaster for all of our community. It really seeks to take away our democracy and install a dictator. And his statements and comments as of late has been really focused on elevating Donald Trump as a dictator of our democracy and really not having a democracy, right? Eliminating our republic. So I think that there's so many different issues with this particular choice. Good on the Republicans. I think that he will appeal to the base. He'll appeal to the base. He'll get the Rust Belt. He'll get middle of America. He'll get all those white men, he served in the military and he's just like us, the bros out there, right? He'll get the Christian right as well, because of, he's a married man and, he's proclaimed as being Christian. But I think he's a controversial candidate, and the Democrats could play on all of his previous statements, but also we need to worry about him because of all of his policy prescriptions. So that's those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, and I think the inconsistency on his stance to go from supporting Hillary Clinton in 2016 to where we see him now and what his message is.
Listen, he's praised Barack Obama in his book. These are words that he's written in his book, right? He's praised Barack Obama, right? How do you justify that, right? And so how do you now go and demonize the left when you praise what some will call the most leftist president?
Right.
Well, she wasn't really leftist, but one of the most leftist presidents. So now how do you defend your stance, right? But this is I think this is more symptomatic of the Republican Party, right? They don't care. They don't give a shit,
Well,
right? Because it's Donald Trump's party, right? So Donald Trump said he's a good guy. Donald Trump said he's the best pick. So people just believe what the God Donald Trump says, right? And so this is a party that does not stand on any moral ground, right? They can say one thing and believe in one thing, and then all of a sudden flip flop. I mean, I think about the Republican National Convention, right? Nikki Haley, who demonized Trump during the primary, right? And said that he would be another Trumper, and now is bowing to him. She kissed the ring, basically.
Right.
And let it be known, prior to Saturday, she was not on the lineup. She was not supposed to be at the RNC. She wasn't even invited.
Oh, wow.
She was not even invited prior to Saturday, prior to that incident that happened with Trump, right? That was probably planned, but anyhow, I won't say that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, she was not invited. And now all of a sudden, she's bowing to him.
Yeah, didn't she call Trump a scumbag at one point?
Listen, she said so many different things. Nico, what do you think?
Yeah, so my thoughts are it's, a lot of these candidates and people, the politicians, I feel as if they're playing the back and forth game. And I think they want their 15 minutes of fame at this point. And at this point, it's are you putting all your beliefs for the media, or is it for the actual people? So, I just don't know what they believe in.
Trump was a former reality show host. Yeah. And, we have to look at, some of you are not young enough, or young enough to maybe not remember some of the history that we've had. But growing up, I personally, and some of you may recall, no matter what party people felt aligned with, that there was an authentic and genuine dedication to the office, and that people still had respect for people, their fellow countrymen, and the president leading, even if their views were different. And I think we've really strayed from that. And I really hope that personally we can get back to a society in our country being more unified without fear, and that there's trust in our country and our leadership, and that we get beyond this. And I hope it's sooner than later.
No, I think, Larry, great points. We have devolved as a nation, right?
Yes.
We completely have devolved from that point that you mentioned, where, irrespective, you might have disagreed with the leader, but you respected the leader. They were the president
Absolutely.
and the leader of the free world. I didn't agree with George W. Bush, right? But I respected him as a person, right?
Absolutely.
He cared about the nation. He genuinely cared about the nation, despite his faux pas with 9/11.
Yes.
That happens as a leader. Some of us get stuck, we don't know what to do. But overall, I think about George W. Bush, who cared about AIDS, right?
Right.
And he had a huge effort to combat AIDS, in particular Africa, because he thought that that's where it came from, and that's how it spread in America, right? So he was that compassionate conservative, and I do believe he was a compassionate conservative. I didn't believe every policy stance that he agreed with, because I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal, but he was that compassionate conservative, and you respected the man, and he did care about the nation. It wasn't about his own interests or his family interests. And we do have to get back to this point where, irrespective of your policy, right, that we respect that leader. And right now, with the former president, Donald J. Trump, we are the laughingstock, and we continue to be the laughingstock of the world. He is a joke to people around the world. People do not respect that guy. And the Republicans at their convention about people fear him and he's going to be a ruthless. They do not fear this guy. They just think he's a dumbass. Let's just be real. Global leaders think he's a dumbass.
Right.
He cows to Putin. Who does that? He cows to all these autocratic leaders, right? He wants to be a dictator, and surpasses to say, using J.D. Vance's, he's Hitler-ish right? And so we do need to get back to a point in our society where we respect our leaders, irrespective of the party. But hopefully, after this faux pas in our American society with Trump, that we can get back to that point, right? We have to back align our politics. Politics used to be about and having leaders who knew that, yes, I could be far on the right, I could be far on the left, but the idea behind going to Washington was that we would negotiate and we'll come somewhere in the middle, right?
Absolutely.
That's the reality, is that's what our political leaders are there for. It's to negotiate and come in the middle, right? Because we're always going to have one side or the other side, or 3 or 4 different sides, right? But the idea is that public policy is about meeting in the middle and trying to make people better off and not worse off. And under Trump, I think he's just all about himself, right? Anyhow, let's move on, Nico.
Absolutely.
Next, let's queer up students and youth culture. Trevor Project finds that LGBTQ+ youth deeply concerned about climate change. Many young LGBTQ+ people are increasingly worried about climate change. According to the latest research brief from the Trevor Project, 55% reported worrying about climate change frequently, 38% said they worry sometimes, and only 7% said they don't worry at all. The brief is based on the data from the Trevor Project's 2024 U.S. National Survey on the mental health of LGBTQ+ young people, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The brief says that the frequent worry about climate change was more likely to be reported by 59% of those aged 18 to 24, 59% of people living in large cities, and 55 to 56% these residing in the Northeast, West, and Midwest. Younger individuals, those in the South, and those outside of the cities reported slightly lower levels of concern. Respondents facing difficulties meeting basic needs and non-binary youth express higher levels of worry compared to their counterparts. The data also showed a correlation between climate change anxiety and higher rates of depression and anxiety symptoms, with 59% of those experiencing anxiety frequently worrying about climate change, compared to 47% without anxiety symptoms. Similarly, 58% of those with depression symptoms reported frequent climate change worry. The findings highlight the urgent need for mental health services and support systems addressing both environmental and psychological stressors for LGBTQ youth. So my thoughts are the fact that I am definitely in the 55% that's definitely worried, because I used to love summer and it is always so hot. Like if I say I go rollerblading, I do that during the summer. I go home and take a cold bath and I'm still like tingling from the sun. So AC is my best friend at the moment.
It's interesting that that in this study they found that people that live in urban environments are more young people that live in urban environments are more concerned about climate change than those that are not living in urban dwellings. But somebody who comes from New York City, looking at the weather sometimes in November and December now, it's warm there compared to when I grew up. You always had snowstorms in November and December, and now it's like they're getting 65 degrees in New York City in November and December, which is such an anomaly from when I grew up in the 80s and 90s when it was just we had these 10-inch snowstorms, 12-inch snowstorms in New York City,
Absolutely.
But now that's not happening. That's more and more less frequent. And so climate change is a serious concern, and it does mess with a young person's hormones. It messes with them psychologically, like you just said, Nico, that you're not able to really go out and rollerblade, doing things that you really love to do and enjoy to do because you're stuck in the house, probably because in the AC, because it's way too hot out. And so it does impact us mentally because we can't do the things that allows us to release stress, right? And to release those endorphins.
We've done several stories on the Trevor Project, and specifically some of these studies that have come out about the youth and the mental challenges. And this just continues to speak to that. However, I still say I'm so encouraged for our youth because they do have empathy. They do have compassion. They really care about things. And I feel like those are our future leaders, and we've got to be better prepared to help them mentally be prepared to, just like what's going on with you, preparing them to live a life, right? And as long as we can continue to move that forward, they're going to be a great attribution to our society.
Absolutely.
Vaughn, that's such
So
a
good. That's such a good takeaway.
Yeah, right? That's amazing.
there.
The fact that they are concerned about issues such as climate change, right? That it is a concern for them, and that they have apathy, right? And they're concerned about issues that impact not just them, but all of society, And so I do have high hopes for our young people.
Absolutely.
And thank you for that. That was so great. So well said. So well said. The other thing about this story, though, is that it calls for greater attention to mental health counseling. I think, this post-COVID world, we've seen an increase not just with young people, but people in general who need mental health assistance. And listen, I'm a therapist and I speak to therapists, right? And so it's so important that we have resources out there to help us just process things and to help us calm our anxiety or work on our depression, right? And it's okay. Right. And that's what I love about the Trevor Project. They make things okay. They normalize things like mental health counseling. So thanks. Next, let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale brings Greek feast culinary class with Chef Jorge. Visit Lauderdale invites everyone to a memorable Mediterranean culinary journey with Chef Jorge Montes at the Greek Feast Culinary class. The event will take place at Sistrunk Marketplace on August 23rd. Attendees will learn to make spanakopita, Greek watermelon salad, and garlic and rosemary leg of lamb with osso. This event is perfect for home cooks or couples seeking a unique date night. The class will begin with a cocktail and light bites, providing a fun and relaxed setting for all for just $75. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Joe DiMaggio's Children's Hospital. Don't miss this culinary adventure.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finished tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 minute news.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the U.S. view. LGBTQ plus parents in America are raising over 5 million children. A new study by the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law reveals that approximately 5 million children in the U.S. are being raised by LGBTQ plus parents. This includes 2 million children in single-parent LGBTQ plus households and nearly 300,000 with same-sex couple parents. The study found that 2.57 million LGBTQ plus adults are parenting children under 18, representing 18% of queer adults. Additionally, the rate of adoption within same-sex couples is 21%. 4% of same-sex couples foster, and 17% have stepchildren. These statistics are significantly higher than other different-sex couples. Wow, and all I can think about with this story is with our political climate. You know how easily with a strike of a pen things can be overturned.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is that going to do to adoption rates? What's that going to do for children who are already adopted? It just makes my head spin.
Yeah. And what I think about too is that the right, are into family, right? Into like not having abortions and, having all these children in our society. And, here we are having members of our community, the LGBTQ plus community, stepping up to the plate and adopting children. And we're not known, particularly gay men, as people who, we're kind of selfish, right? We kind of like our party scene. We kind of like, but yet 5 million children are being raised by LGBTQ plus parents, whether step parents or adoptive parents, foster parents, and what have you. And so this is a party who believes in family values, yet want to take away family values from us, who are trying to just help, young people who just don't have adequate homes or parents to love them. As a parent myself, I loved reading the story that there's so many of us out there raising young people, and gives me hope, but it gives me worry, as you said, Vance, as well, about our political climate and the fact that, this should inspire those out there who are parents who are raising, children to vote and to be a part of our political process. Because otherwise we could lose that right really quickly.
Yes.
And we don't have a Supreme Court that supports us.
Absolutely. And love is love, as we all know. And I think there's studies that prove that many of the LGBTQ adoptive parents often take on children who have special needs. And, I think the main thing is to keep children and not return to the orphanages that were in past decades, but that there's hope for children to break out of, cycles in society where they might repeat the histories of the mothers and fathers that couldn't raise them themselves.
Oh, that's such a great point. And, the other point that I want to make, and I know the conservatives always have this point of, well, if you're LGBTQ, you're going to raise queer kids. That's actually not true. There is an organization out there, I used to be on the board of it. It's called Collage. It's a shameless plug. Collage is such a great organization, but it's an organization for youth who have LGBTQ parents, and the majority of the kids were not gay. It was like 90% of the kids that was a part of Collage were not gay. And you talked about P-Town earlier. Every August, the first week of August, the second week of August, there is Family Weekend, and Collage and Equality Families, or Family Equality, I forget the name of the other organization, puts on this Family Weekend, and the majority of the kids are straight kids, but happen to love their LGBTQ parents, whether it's two moms, two dads, or what have you, however it is. They love their parents. And it's a great weekend for those kids to come together. And they have had long-lasting relationships. Members of the board, when I was on Collage, were young kids who were kids of Collage, and they came on the board. And they did it because they support, their parents and support other kids who are raised by LGBTQ parents. So that's not true, conservatives. Oftentimes, these kids are, straight kids, but just happen to have parents who are LGBTQ plus.
Absolutely.
Larry?
And LGBT 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. Heartstopper star Joe Locke joins new Marvel series as a gay teen. Heartstopper star Joe Locke has committed and confirmed his role as a gay teen named, Teen, in Marvel's upcoming series, Agatha All Along. The WandaVision spinoff follows Agatha Harkness, played by Kathryn Hahn, as she works to regain her powers after a battle with Wanda Maximoff. The star features Agatha as a detective in Westview, gathering a coven of witches, including Teen, played by Locke. Notable co-stars include Patti LuPone, and Aubrey Plaza. Locke confirmed the teen's queer identity in an interview with Rolling Stone UK.
Another beautiful day.
Surprised to see you out here, Detective. Jane Doe, found her down here by the water.
Cause?
Blunt force trauma.
What happened to you? I have a lead in the case, but I can't shake this feeling I'm seeing it wrong.
Is this really how you see yourself?
That witch is gone, leaving you trapped in her distorted spell. Claw your way out.
I miss the glory days.
She took every bit of power I had,
But I can be that witch again.
well, the gang's all here. Let's hit the road. I'm gonna walk the witch's road. The road is a death wish. Join me.
What witch in her right mind would join Agatha Harkness's coven?
Not looking for right-minded witches, as it happens.
Sweetheart, you okay?
Oh my God! Whoa! What's she doing? Where's she going?
Wow, exciting stuff. And Patti LuPone, too. I can't wait till September 18th. Agatha All Along. I'm going to check it out. We have to have some watch parties or something.
WandaVision was awesome, so I'm so excited for this to come out.
And Disney Plus.
There we go.
It looks great. Like
Yes.
I was glued watching
Yes.
the clip there, and yeah,
Riveting.
And Patti LuPone, come on.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't
fantastic.
stop looking at Joe Locke from Heartstopper. He definitely made my heart stop, and I'm just a sucker for witchcraft and like witch stories. So
He's cast a spell.
yeah.
Yes.
On you, Nico.
Yes.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up politics. Trump VP candidate Vance's grandmother asked him, quote, "Do you want to suck dicks?" End quote. Anti-LGBTQ plus Senator J.D. Vance, who Trump now chooses as his vice president running mate, once thought he was gay. In his autobiography named Hillbilly Elegy, Vance mentions that at 8 or 9 years old, he heard one preacher condemning homosexuals and feared he was gay because he disliked girls and had a close male friend. Upon sharing the thoughts with his grandmother, she dismissed his concerns, asking, quote, "JD, do you want to suck dicks?" End quote. Vance is now married to a woman. Is it out of homophobia he faced during childhood? He has since turned his homophobia to the LGBTQ plus community. Wow. Grandma asking, does he want to suck dicks? Like, whoa. That was pretty straightforward. I don't think to the question, I don't think he turned his homophobia is from his experience with his grandmother. I think his homophobia is just because he has deep beliefs that he doesn't like two men together. I just think that he probably just thinks that it's not morally just or right, and that's just how some people on the right wing think about us in our community. But wow, to his grandmother, she was very bold.
She's very bold.
feisty.
At 8 or 9 years old, asking,
Yes.
I would never ask my kid, "Are you, gay? Like, do you want to suck dicks?"
That's very
just
specific.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Very
Very
raw and
Yeah, very, very raw. But very raw Midwestern, if there is such a thing. Yeah.
right. Very, very old school. It's kind of like I'm just gonna ask you right out.
But you
From
have
the
to
gate.
wonder.
Yeah.
I have to think that even if J.D. Vance is heterosexual, and that's his 100% identity, if there is such a thing, as we all know with Kinsey studies, there are many gradients, and it's normal for people to explore different feelings growing up, and certainly with religious oppression that he may have experienced. Certainly if people have fleeting thoughts,
Right.
I'm sure that there are many gay men or lesbian women that maybe had fleeting thoughts of having a heterosexual encounter growing up.
Right.
But it's very fascinating, and again, it falls along the lines of his consistency in who he supports, Democratic and now Trump.
Sure.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up drag culture. Salina EsTitties makes history for being the first drag queen on CBS's Big Brother. Salina EsTitties, famed for her appearance on the 15th season of RuPaul's Drag Race, became the first drag queen to enter CBS's Big Brother house in the show's history. Salina shared the news on Instagram, expressing her excitement by saying, quote, "It was a mini dream come true," end quote. Salina got to spend 8 hours in the Big Brother 26 house as a part of their mini one-day content creator series. Her post read, quote, "America is ready for a drag queen in the Big Brother house."
Salina, how you doing? Salina in the house! Hey! Oh my God, Big Brother! America's ready for a drag queen on Big Brother. That's all I have to say, okay? You know what I mean? Julian in the house. Salina in the house.
Who wants a showman?
Okay, wait, I was gonna say that. Hi, Julie, it's me, Salina EsTitties.
What I love about Salina EsTitties is the fact that there's so many doors opening up and new endeavors. I actually went to P-Town a couple weeks ago for the July 4th, and quite literally, she had me on stage for her show. It was the Poppy Experience, and so yeah, I participated, and basically the game was like 6 cruisers in a locker room, and there's 2 police. And I was actually a cruiser, but everyone framed me. The first round out of 7 people there, I was like, they thought I was a police, so they kicked me off stage. But it was really funny just being a part of it, and just Salina EsTitties is just awesome, and I'm glad that she's a part of Big Brother now.
Yeah. It's great to see so many graduates of RuPaul's show move on to bigger and better things.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know if they're giving her makeup time. Time to get that makeup on before they rush everybody out of the bed, right?
Listen, I love that we're breaking down doors, we're breaking down barriers, we're going into the mainstream, and drag is not, offending people, it's just, we're coming into the mainstream, and the drag community is a part of that, unlike what we've thought here in our governors thought in Florida, that it's porn or, whatever, is rant against the drag community. The fact that on national television, CBS, which tends to lean a little right-wing, quite frankly, in terms of the producers and owners of CBS, the fact that they were able to feature her, in a big show like Big Brother, is pretty groundbreaking. And it, goes against everything that we've seen here in Florida. And so I'm grateful that, she is breaking down barriers and really opening up the doors for so many others to come after her. And this is amazing. And kudos to CBS for really taking a chance and featuring her on Big Brother.
I think CBS knows what's good.
Well, the ratings aren't wrong. And I think hopefully it'll continue.
And look at her. She was there having fun. People were embracing her.
And
As
they should.
Well, you know what? And look at the climate that we're in with the division in our country. People need the lighthearted moments, and I think our community can bring it on.
We do bring it on.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and your family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital division show in the world that is, quote, out of the closet and into the headlines, unquote. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I am your anchor, Dr. Edward Summers, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Larry, Vaughn, and Nico, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To the LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.